The signal had come without warning, a chaotic pulse of the outer reaches of the Perseus Rim, garbled, desperate, and unmistakably human. For decades, humanity had been considered a footnote, a fragile species that should have perished under the harshest conditions of their homeworld. Earth had always been brutal, a planet of extremes, a crucible where storms could crush entire cities, and predators evolved to kill without mercy. Yet, against all odds, humans had survived. And now, when the galaxy had forgotten them, they were about to remind it why survival on a death world bred something far beyond ordinary resilience. Commander KOV stared at the flickering console aboard the Andari flagship, the distress signal echoing through the ship's comms. Every attempt to trace it, decode it, or locate its source had failed. Until now. The message was clear, though. Extinction was imminent, and only humans could intervene. Kale's second-in-command, Lieutenant Marasun, shook her head at the urgency. Earth has been abandoned for centuries, she said, her voice tight. Whatever is left there, it's not meant to be found. Kale's jaw tightened. Perhaps that was precisely why they had to go. When the fleet entered Earth's orbit, they found a planet both familiar and alien. Cities were skeletal ruins, forests burned to ash, and oceans had turned dark with pollution and decay. Scanning for life yielded nothing, yet movement on the surface betrayed a presence. Humans, agile, silent, and deadly, they moved like shadows over the ruined terrain, disappearing before sensors could lock onto them. Then, without warning, the Andari fleet came under attack. Ships designed to endure deep space combat were shredded by unseen weapons, electromagnetic pulses crippled engines, and kinetic projectiles tore through hulls with terrifying precision. A voice cut through the chaos, raw and unmistakably human. Did you think we would wait to be saved? Did you think Deathworlders needed mercy? The holographic image that followed was equally disconcerting. A man clad in adaptive armor, scars streaking his face, eyes hardened by centuries of struggle. Behind him, dozens more moved in perfect synchronization, a force of nature born from Earth's merciless crucible. "I am Captain Thorn," the voice said, and Earth answers when no one else could. Kale watched, stunned, as Thorn's forces dismantled the fleet with deliberate, terrifying efficiency. Each movement was purposeful, every tactic instinctive, every strike calculated to neutralize without unnecessary loss. Thorn's words cut through the comms like a blade. "We have survived storms that would vaporize your worlds, predators that would tear your fleets apart, and plagues that would annihilate entire civilizations. We fight differently because we have no choice but to endure." Fear and awe mingled in Kale's chest. "We came to help," he said quietly. "Help." Thorn's laugh was harsh, humorless, and final. "We help ourselves. But you will live to carry a message. Humanity does not wait." The approaching threat revealed itself soon after, an alien biomechanical fleet, devastating entire systems and consuming planets as raw materials. Every civilization that had tried to resist had been annihilated. The signal, their plea for help, had been a lure for anyone brave or foolish enough to intervene. But Earth survivors were ready, using the ruined surface as a battlefield. Humans transformed cities into traps, jungles into ambush zones, and oceans into death corridors. They moved with terrifying coordination, blending scavenged alien technology with ingenuity honed over centuries of hardship. In mere days, the invaders were destroyed, their fleet shredded, their forces annihilated. Not a single human casualty in sight. KOV and his fleet watched, humbled and amazed, as Thorn addressed them once more. "This is what Earth produces when left to its own devices," he said, voice steady, eyes unyielding. "We do not wait for aid. We do not ask for mercy. We step when no one else will, and we survive." The galaxy will remember this day, not as the fall of humanity, but as its triumph. Worlds that had dismissed Earth now approached with caution. Legends of the Deathworlders spread, carrying a simple, terrifying truth. Underestimate humanity, and the consequences would be absolute. Above the scorched, battered surface of Earth, humans stood ready, not for conquest, not for war, but for survival. Their armor scarred, their eyes sharp, their bodies honed by centuries of relentless struggle. The stars themselves seemed to recognize the warning. Humanity answers when no one else will. The galaxy had forgotten them, But Earth's Deathworlders had not forgotten themselves. They had endured. They had adapted. They had stepped. And the universe would never again assume that humanity could be ignored. The silence that followed the destruction of the alien fleet was almost deafening. Orbiting ships floated among the wreckage, sensors still flickering with the remnants of energy bursts, while below, the humans of Earth began to emerge in the shadows, regrouping with a discipline that seemed almost unnatural to outsiders. Kale could feel it. The raw power of survival, refined over centuries. Every movement was precise, every glance calculated, as if the planet itself had trained these people to perfection. Captain Thorn walked among them, inspecting his warriors with critical eye. Yet there was a strange pride in his expression. "We adapt," he said quietly, almost himself. "We learn. Every threat, every disaster, every predator, it teaches us, and in the end, it strengthens us." He turned to Kale and Mara. "You've seen our strength today, but strength alone does not define us. Endurance, ingenuity, unity, that is what it means to be human on Earth." Kale's mind raced. The humans he had known in standard interstellar encounters were nothing like this. These were creatures carved from the essence of survival itself, honed on a planet that seemed determined to annihilate them at every turn. Mara's voice broke his thoughts. "They've turned death into an art form, and somehow it looks effortless." From the ruins below, a young scout returned with news. "The eastern sector," he said, voice clipped, "is clear, but we've detected movement beyond the city's perimeter. Unknown origin, likely remnants of the alien fleet trying to regroup." Thorn's gaze sharpened. "They think this is over. Let them come. Let them learn what it truly means to face Deathworlders." The humans moved as one, vanishing into blackened forests and shattered streets, leaving Kale and Mara to watch from above. Every ruined building, every scorched battlefield had become a weapon. Hidden turrets powered by scavenged technology sprang to life. Trenches and tunnels formed deadly mazes, and traps that seemed almost sentient waited for the unsuspecting. Kale realized that Earth itself was a living part of the human war machine, a battlefield that had been shaped and reshaped over centuries, waiting for the moment when humanity would rise again. Night fell, and with it came the eerie calm before the next storm. Kale watched the flickering lights of human positions, knowing that whatever came next, the galaxy had underestimated Earth at its own peril. Mara's hand rested on his shoulder. "We thought we were here to help them," she whispered. "But I think we were here to witness something far greater. They've survived everything the universe threw at them, and they're just getting started." In the distance, a low hum vibrated through the air, the faintest warning of an approaching force. Kale's breath caught. But the humans of Earth did not flinch, did not hesitate. They had faced extinction countless times, and each time they had risen stronger. The galaxy would soon learn that humanity did not merely survive. They endured, adapted, and when the time came, they struck with precision and ruthlessness no one could imagine. And as the first glimmers of dawn touched the ruined cities, Thorn stood at the highest vantage point, eyes scanning the horizon. "Let them come," he said softly. "Let the universe see why Earth's Deathworlders finally stepped." The first sign of the approaching force was subtle, a ripple in the atmosphere, almost imperceptible to untrained eyes. Then came the distant, rhythmic vibrations, like the heartbeat of some colossal predator, echoing across the shattered plains. Humans of Earth did not panic. They moved through the ruins with deliberate calm, checking traps, repositioning sentries, and silently communicating with gestures and signals that Kale could barely follow. It was as if the planet itself had taught them coordination, intuition, and instinct. From his vantage point, Captain Thorn raised a hand, and the scattered squads fell into formation. Every soldier, every scout, every vehicle was part of a larger, unseen mechanism, prepared to react instantaneously to threats that would have overwhelmed any ordinary army. Kale realized the depth of their adaptation. These were not just survivors. They were predators in their own right, honed by centuries of environmental extremity. The storms, the predators, the scarcity of resources, all had been training for this very moment. The first wave of enemy drones appeared over the horizon, glinting metallically in the rising sun. The humans waited, barely moving, letting the drones enter the perfect kill zone. Then, without warning, the forest erupted. Mines buried beneath blackened soil detonated with precision, toppling drones like paper. Hidden railguns, scavenged and enhanced, fired with perfect timing, shredding the intruders in synchronized volleys. Even the smallest humans seemed capable of feats of impossible agility, climbing ruined buildings, sliding between debris, and striking from unexpected angles. Kale and Mara watched from above, all mixing with fear. "This isn't combat," Mara murmured. "This is survival made lethal." The Andari soldiers around them whispered the same, their discipline failing to keep pace with what they were witnessing. Every trap, every tactic, every movement reflected a deep understanding not just of warfare, but the very nature of life on Earth. Captain Thorn moved through the chaos like a shadow, appearing where needed, directing squads, and dispatching enemies with unerring accuracy. "Do not underestimate them," he warned Kale as he observed the battle. "They think they fight us, or they think they fight humans, but they are fighting centuries of evolution. This is what Deathworlders do. We endure, we adapt, and when we strike, the universe remembers." The alien drones fell back, regrouping for another attack, only to find the humans already anticipating them. Bridges collapsed, tunnels shifted, and the very terrain seemed to change under the Earthlings' control. Kale felt a chill. He had studied combat strategies across dozens of civilizations, yet nothing had prepared him for this. These humans were an ecosystem of war, a living testament to the survival of the fittest, and their fittest was honed by a world that would kill anyone weak enough to falter. As the sun climbed higher, the humans began to counterattack, advancing with precision, their formations fluid yet impenetrable. Mara watched a single squad dismantle an entire unit of alien drones with a combination of explosives, traps, and close-quarter strikes. Every casualty was calculated. Every victory ensured minimal loss of life. Kale realized then that Earth's Deathworlders did not just survive. They mastered every tool, every element, every advantage the world could provide. By the time the alien forces retreated beyond the horizon, the humans were already regrouping, repairing, and preparing for the inevitable next wave. Not a single human casualty had been reported. Yet the devastation for the attackers was total. Kale felt a weight of realization settle over him. The galaxy had assumed Earth was weak, primitive, irrelevant. It had been a fatal mistake. Humanity had waited patiently, silently growing stronger in the shadows, and now it had finally stepped. Captain Thorn surveyed the battlefield, his expression calm yet resolute. "Let the universe know," he said quietly, "that when Earth answers, it does not plead, it does not wait, it strikes, and it survives." Kale and Mara exchanged a glance, understanding fully now that they had witnessed more than a battle. They had witnessed the culmination of centuries of struggle, evolution, and unyielding will. Humanity had been forged in fire, sharpened by disaster, and the galaxy would never forget the force that had risen from Earth's death world. If you want, I can continue to the next part, escalating the story into the final sea. The alien remnants had scattered, but their retreat was only temporary. From the horizon, Kale could see the first signs of a new fleet forming, larger, faster, and more relentless than the initial wave. Yet the humans of Earth did not flinch. Instead, they advanced deeper into the ruined cities and forests, transforming every ruin, every gully, every crater into a strategic position. Kale felt a shiver run down his spine. This was no ordinary defense. This was the anticipation of inevitability, the kind of preparation only a species forged in death-world conditions could achieve. Captain Thorn climbed a fractured skyscraper, scanning the approaching threat through enhanced optics. Beside him, scouts relayed terrain data, drone positions, and predicted enemy trajectories. "We do not wait for them to arrive," Thorn said, voice low but carrying authority. "We engage on our terms. Earth teaches those who come here uninvited." The soldiers beneath him moved like extensions of the city itself, blending into rubble, forests, and hidden trenches, invisible until the moment of strike. The alien fleet descended in coordinated precision, mechanical silhouettes glinting under the sun. They expected chaos, panic, disarray, yet all they encountered was lethal orchestration. Mines detonated in timed sequences. Electromagnetic pulses disabled ships before boarding parties could deploy. And from the forest, Earth's humans emerged in perfect synchrony, striking targets with kinetic weapons scavenged from fallen invaders. Kale's jaw tightened. Even the most advanced Endari fleets had never faced a foe capable of turning every environment into a weapon. Mara whispered beside him, all evident in her voice. They're not just fighting. They're controlling the battlefield itself. Every step, every trap, every tactic. It's like the planet is alive and fighting with them. Kale nodded, realizing the truth in her words. These humans had internalized Earth's extremes. They anticipated not only enemy movements, but also how the environment would respond, using storms, terrain shifts, and even wildlife as allies in combat. Thorne's squad executed a pincer maneuver with flawless timing. Alien drones that had advanced into city ruins suddenly found themselves trapped, disoriented, and destroyed in moments. Explosions tore through the streets. Yet not a single human was caught unprepared. It was terrifying efficiency, a symphony of war composed over centuries of survival under impossible conditions. Kale understood then that Earth had not merely survived. It had adapted every hardship into a weapon, every predator into a lesson, and every catastrophe into experience. As the battle raged, Thorne directed reinforcements toward key points where alien forces attempted to regroup. Using adaptive camouflage, environmental manipulation, and synchronized strikes, the humans systematically dismantled the enemy's formation. Kale noticed a peculiar detail. The humans were not just killing. They were learning, adjusting instantaneously to every new tactic the aliens attempted. Each attack became a classroom, each maneuver a masterclass in survival. By the time the second wave was repelled, the alien forces were broken, demoralized, and scattered beyond recognition. The battlefield was silent, save for the hum of cooling weapons and the rustle of Earth's wind across shattered skyscrapers. Thorne stood among his soldiers, surveying the results with quiet satisfaction. "We did not fight because we must," he said, voice carrying over the ruins. "We fought because we exist, because we endure, because Deathworlders answer when no one else will." Kale felt a surge of realization. Humanity had never waited for salvation. They had never needed it. Every hardship, every apocalypse, every trial had forged them into apex survivors. And now, the galaxy had witnessed their power, not as conquerors, but as a species unwilling to yield, unstoppable in their adaptability, and unmatched in resilience. Mara exhaled softly. "We came thinking we would help them, but we were only here to watch them remind the universe why Earth cannot be ignored." Kale nodded, knowing she was right. They had seen the pinnacle of human potential, born from struggle, refined in suffering, and unleashed when the galaxy assumed they were gone. Earth's Deathworlders had finally stepped, and the stars themselves would never forget. The alien fleet had been shattered, yet new threats loomed on the edge of perception. Orbital sensors picked up irregular energy signatures, machines unlike any the humans had faced before, sleek and adaptive, capable of instantaneous repair and learning from each encounter. Kale felt a cold certainty. The universe was testing them, but Earth's Deathworlders were ready. Captain Thorne gathered his leaders in the ruins of what had once been a grand city. Skyscrapers leaned at impossible angles. Streets were cratered and scorched, yet the humans moved as if the devastation were their natural home. "They think destruction will break us," Thorne said, voice low and commanding. "But every ruin, every storm, every predator has already trained us. They do not realize that Earth is not a place to survive. It is a forge, and we are its finest steel." Scouts returned with reports of incoming enemy forces, this time larger, faster, and smarter. They were no longer merely machines. They were hunters, adaptive and relentless. Thorne's eyes narrowed. "Then we fight as hunters. Every building, every canyon, every river is a weapon. Every soldier is a predator. They will learn what Earth teaches, that those who endure the impossible can become unstoppable." The humans dispersed with precision, disappearing into ruins, forests, and underground tunnels, leaving nothing vulnerable. Kale watched from orbit, marveling at their synchronization. Signals flashed silently between units, conveying instant strategy updates and environmental assessments. Every trap, every ambush, every maneuver reflected centuries of hard-won wisdom encoded into instinct. Mara whispered, "It's as if Earth itself fights with them." The aliens advanced, confident that their sheer numbers and advanced technology would overwhelm any defenders. But Earth's Deathworlders did not meet them head-on. They funneled the attackers into narrow ravines, collapsed bridges beneath them, and unleashed hidden artillery from ruined buildings. Explosions erupted like controlled lightning, shredding entire waves of attackers. And yet, not a single human life was lost. Every strike was precise, every response instantaneous, every calculation flawless. From a high vantage, Thorne observed the chaos. "They will try to adapt," he said. "Let them. Every tactic they deploy has already been anticipated. Every move teaches us more about them, and by the time they learn, it will be too late." Kale realized that this was no ordinary battle. It was a demonstration of evolution itself, distilled into living warriors honed by the cruelest planet in the galaxy. Hours passed, though it felt like mere minutes. The alien forces faltered, breaking ranks and retreating, while humans advanced through ruins, reclaiming territory they had never truly lost. Kale and Mara watched as Thorne and his lieutenants orchestrated every movement with an almost surgical precision, turning destruction into strategy, chaos into control. By nightfall, the battlefield was silent again. The alien fleet had been annihilated, leaving only twisted metal and scorched earth. Humans emerged from the shadows, unscathed, unbroken, triumphant. Thorne addressed them quietly, yet his voice carried the weight of absolute authority. "We are not defined by the universe's indifference," he said. "We are defined by our response. We endure, we adapt, we strike, and when no one else answers, we step." Kale and Mara exchanged a glance, both understanding fully the magnitude of what they had witnessed. Humanity had not simply survived. It had transformed adversity into a weapon, suffering into strategy, and isolation into dominance. The galaxy would learn a new truth today. Underestimate Earth at your own peril. Above the ruined planet, the stars seemed to shine a little differently, as if acknowledging a species that had risen from extinction, evolved in defiance, and emerged victorious. Earth's Deathworlders had finally stepped, and the universe would never be the same.